Go ahead, because I run nigga. I run.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Little Rod ain't worth giving this kingdom to if we don't control his publishing. I can solve his efforts with 3 other human beings. He's eating at our table, and I like his backstory, but you need to have other people. It's hard to work with him unless we have his pub. He's a piece of human, but we do not need his talent unless we can work with him.
Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Check this out. As you know, P. Diddy's preparing for his trial to start on Monday, but in the meantime, he's won a stunning legal victory against Little Rod. In addition to his son Justin Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. being dismissed from the case because of a mistake that Tyrone Blackburn made, the judge was like, listen, this case is highly exaggerated and it's definitely not a RICO. At best, it's a simple contract dispute. And then the judge went on to basically gut the case with 3 different rulings. Alright, ruling number 1, Justin Combs is dropped from the case. Okay, so this is what happened. Tyrone Blackburn failed to serve Justin Combs with the proper paperwork, and then he asked the judge for an extension in which the judge gave him. However, he failed to serve Justin again. Now, when the judge asked Tyrone Blackburn why he failed to serve Justin Combs, Tyrone Blackburn was basically like, I tried, Your Honor. However, he lives in a gated community and I couldn't get to him. Needless to say, the judge was not feeling Tyrone Blackburn's excuse and therefore decided to dismiss Justin Combs from the case. In his paperwork, the judge wrote, regarding Justin Combs, Blackburn provides a transcript of his correspondence with a process service provider showing that attempts to effect service using a process server began on October 19th, 2024. Blackburn first provided the process server with 2 incorrect addresses. Blackburn then provided a 3rd address at 7:46 p.m. on November 6, 2024, 2 days before the deadline this court imposed for effective service. The process server attempted to effect service the next day and confirmed that subject resides at the address, but was unable to access the address due to a private gate/fence. That afternoon, Blackburn correctly instructed the process server to leave the summons and complaint with a security guard at the property if unable to reach Justin Combs himself. However, despite Blackburn's instructions, the process server responded later that day that service to the security guard or front desk personnel will not be accepted by the court. Blackburn didn't respond that day. The process server again attempted service the next day, but did not leave the papers with Justin Combs' security guard. The process server so informed Blackburn, but despite the November 8th deadline, Blackburn didn't respond until November 9th at 3:46 p.m. At that time, Blackburn reiterated that service could be made by leaving the summons and complaint with the security guard and told the process server, let me worry about the court rule and you worry about serving the documents. Blackburn and the process server continued to argue, and at one point, Blackburn changed the service location to the address next door without explanation. But the papers were never left with the security guard or otherwise delivered to the Combs address. Now, according to legal experts, the process server was actually right and Tyrone Blackburn was wrong because you can't leave those papers with a security guard that is not located on the property. Alright, so since Tyrone Blackburn failed to deliver the papers to Justin Combs in a timely fashion before the court's deadline, the courts were basically like, listen, this case is dismissed, you're donezo. Now, you can refile a case and start from scratch if you want to, but this particular case against Justin Combs is finito. Listen, I'm so confused because we've known about this Little Rod case forever and I'm over here scratching my head because I'm trying to understand why Tyrone Blackburn will wait to the absolute last minute to get a process server to try to serve those papers. Additionally, everybody named Mother has seen Justin Combs out and about. I mean, for real, he's been back and forth to Diddy's court hearings and he was also at a Halloween party in which he was trying to fight Ray J. So my question is, how come everybody else, including TMZ, can find Justin Combs except for Tyrone Blackburn? I mean, come on, for real. What is Tyrone over there doing? Because Tyrone Blackburn could have called me on the phone and even I could have told him that Justin Combs was over there at a Halloween party on November 1st, dressed like Slick Rick. really, I don't know what Tyrone was thinking, because every good attorney knows that if you can't catch the person because they're behind the gate, you gotta show up to the party and hit them with the paperwork right there. I mean, for real, the process server should have went to the party and two-stepped right up to Justin Combs and been like, once upon a time not long ago, when people wore pajamas and lived life slow, when all was stern and justice stood and people were behaving like they all too good, there lived a little boy who was misled by another little boy, and this is what he said: "You served." See, that right there is how you get them. Alright, so do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button, because now I'm getting ready to tell you why Cuba Gooding Jr. was also dismissed from the case. Now, you're not going to believe this, but the reason why Little Rod's lawsuit has now been dropped against Cuba Gooding Jr. too is because, once again, Tyrone Blackburn failed to deliver the paperwork. When discussing Tyrone Blackburn's failure to serve Cuba Gooding Jr., the judge wrote, regarding Cuba Gooding Jr., Blackburn provides documentation of attempts to effect service at 3 addresses in California. Blackburn sent a process server to the 3rd address only after the November 8th deadline had already passed. Despite previously claiming that he attempted to serve Cuba Gooding Jr. in New York, Blackburn provides no documentation of any such service attempts. Blackburn also did not attempt to serve Cuba Gooding Jr. in Florida, despite acknowledging that similar attempts were successful in other cases. Now, similar to the Justin Combs case, the judge also dismissed Little Rod's case against Cuba Gooding Jr. because the paperwork wasn't served. And he's like, listen, what are you doing? You can go ahead and you can file the case again, but once again, this one's done. Now, after the judge made his ruling, Tyrone Blackburn was over there like, come on, judge, give me one more chance. Give me one more chance. And he asked the judge if instead of serving Justin Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. the regular way, he would be able to serve them through a newspaper listing. And the judge was like, come on now, if you wanted to do that, you should have done that before the deadline. It's over. But the judge wasn't done, because then he turned around and dismissed Little Rod's RICO case against Diddy. And he's like, listen, this is basically a contract dispute. You produced his album, he didn't pay you your money, so if you want to sue him for that. But what does all of this other stuff about Diddy have to do with the fact that he didn't pay you for the album? I mean, what does him ex-trafficking women and using boatloads of cocaine really have to do with you? When discussing the reasons why he's dismissing the RICO portion of Little Rod's case against Diddy, the judge wrote, Jones fails to address any of these arguments in his opposition brief. While the court prefers to decide issues on the merits, it should not be necessary to root around a 402-paragraph complaint to contrive novel arguments on Jones's behalf. Jones's effort to convert a garden variety breach of contract case into a RICO suit therefore fails. The judge also dismissed 2 counts of intentional infliction of emotional distress, 1 claim of negligent infliction of emotional distress, and a breach of contract allegation. On top of that, the judge also tossed out Little Rodney Jones Jr.'s human trafficking claim that was filed under the Trafficking Victims Protection Act against Combs Global. But that still leaves 14 causes of action still standing against Diddy for actual assault against Little Rodney Jones Jr.
Y'all, why did the judge come over here and dismiss 5 of the 9 claims that Lil Rod had brought against Diddy? What? Y'all gotta hear this. Okay, so y'all, they had dismissed the RICO charge, right? And they also dismissed the negligent claim, and they also dismissed, they also dismissed the intentional infliction of emotional distress, y'all. They also threw out the breach of contract, y'all. They also threw out the Trafficking Victim Protection Act claim that they had towards Diddy as well. They also told Lil Rod's attorney that he need to stop going and making these false claims against Diddy, because the next time you do that, you will have some disciplinary acts towards you. You're gonna do some time. So even though some claims are able to proceed on, the court said that they need to meet the plausible, not the probable, at this moment. So yeah, the case still going on, but Lil Rod attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, whatever your name is, calm it down, because we need Diddy underneath the sail. And with you doing all this unnecessary lying and shit, it's gonna fuck up a lot of stuff, okay?
You know something? This right here doesn't even surprise me because I reported to you guys a couple of months ago that after I did a little research on Tyrone Blackburn, I found out that he has a history of not being able to get addresses right, because this is not the first time that he failed to serve some paperwork because he got the address wrong. I mean, Tyrone Blackburn has a long history of like serving people in New Jersey when they live in New York because, according to paperwork, he allegedly fails to do the proper background checks to find out where any of these defendants actually live. Let me tell you something, if I was Little Rodney Jones Jr., I would be sitting over there so pissed because his case is falling apart before it's even had a chance to start. And it's not like it's falling apart because Diddy's over there doing something. His case is falling apart because his own attorney's not over there doing what his own attorney's supposed to do. And it's not like he's failing on the hard stuff, he's failing on the simple stuff. Because serving paperwork through a process server is like what you learn in like Law 101. Let me say this, I would rather have an attorney who writes the most bland lawsuit that actually gets to court than to have an attorney who writes the most sensationally salacious lawsuit that only hits the media and never gets to court. Because I don't need my lawsuit to be #1 on the New York Times bestseller list because it was the best read of the year. What I need is for my lawsuit to actually make it to court so that I can actually have a chance to win a case. Listen, let me know what you think about the courts dismissing Little Rodney Jones Jr.'s cases against Justin Combs and Cuba Gooding Jr. and also dismissing the RICO portion of the case that he filed against P. Diddy. Listen, let me know what you think about everything that we discussed in today's video, and while you're down there leaving a comment, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Hey yo, thanks for tuning in to The Source, your source for celebrity news. Peace.